Hello everyone, my name is Alekhya, Assistant Professor in Cybersecurity Department in IARE College. So today our topic is on challenges in cyber forensics and the need for computer forensics. So what are the challenges that are facing by the cyber forensics? So first of all, what is cyber forensics? So if there is any incident that was happened and it was affected to the user or the person with the access having some data. So if he files a complaint on that, here the cyber police officers or any officials, they can start investigating on that particular case. So for that, cyber forensics are very useful. So if it is done through the internet, cyber forensics is very useful for detecting the threat. And what is the main need for the computer forensics? So today we are going to discuss about these topics. So the contents are challenges in cyber forensics and the need for computer forensics. So here challenges in cyber forensics. Although there are well-developed forensic techniques, cybercrime investigation is not easy. So we are having so many sophisticated technologies that were invented for to catch the criminals, but cybercrime investigation is not that much easy. So it is for the data. So we have to investigate on the data. So the data may be some files or some documents, anything. So see here, for example, a microcomputer may have 200 GB or more storage capacity. Only a microcomputer will have 200 GB or more storage capacity. And there are more than 5.2 billion messages that were expected to be sent and received in the US alone per day. See, only per day 5.2 million messages were expected to send and receive. So if there is any case happen means, so it is very tough to investigate. So we have to so here the experts have to have good knowledge on the queries, on the databases, on the tools that were used to extract the data. So everything. A huge amount of data is available and searching for evidence in that anonymous data is not that easy. So most of the exciting tools allow anyone to change the attribute associated with digital data. So many challenges were faced by cyber forensics. So the forensics, like the investigation made on any case, so they have to deal with the data. So the data is not in small amount. So it is a huge capacity, and here the cyber experts have to know how to deal with that particular data and how to extract that particular amount of data based on the incidents that were happened in the case. And here encryption. So encryption, we all know that encryption means some like securing our data when transferring some confidential data. So we have to secure that. For that we can use encryption. So that is nothing but giving some public or private keys to transfer the data. And encryption is a commonly used anti-forensic technique, and keyword search can be defeated by renaming file names. So this keyword search that can be defeated by naming file names. So cybercrime investigators often face a problem of collecting evidence from very large group of files. So investigation on the large group of files is very big challenge for cyber forensics. And they need to use techniques like link analysis, visualization, and they have to know the queries on the databases, and they have to know the techniques that were used by the cyber criminals and how they have to deal with that particular data and how to extract that particular data which is used in the crime scene. And to find, they need to use machine language techniques also. Something like patterns. To find leads, they need to use machine learning techniques, patterns. And here there are two aspects of technical challenges faced in digital forensic investigation. So what are they? One is complexity. One is complexity problem and the other is quantity problem. complexity and quantity. So these are involved in digital forensic investigation. So a digital forensic investigator often faces the complexity problem because acquired data is typically at the lowest and most raw format. So the data that was acquired on the crime scene or the data that was given by the some evidences, so that is very a raw format, and the data has to be extracted from that particular raw format, and it is a very big problem for forensic investigators. And non-technical people, they also may find it too difficult to understand such formats. So if he is a non-technical people, so it is also very difficult to understand such type of formats. So for resolving the complexity problem, tools are used to solve the complexity problems in the data. Some tools are used. So they translate the data through one or more like layers of abstraction until it can be understood. So they'll use layers of abstraction to abstract the data to extract the particular data. And here the directory is a layer of abstraction. So the directory is one of the layer of abstraction in the file system. So these are some examples for non-file system layers of abstraction. So it includes ASCIIs, HTML files, window registry, and network packets and source code. So based on this, the abstraction will be done. Non-file, these are some non-file system layers. And the increasing volume of potential data to examine can create a problem for law enforcement. So if there is any increase in the volume of potential data to examine, they can create some problem for law enforcement. So seizing all the computers at a search site and examining them at the deepest levels are the most significant factors contributing to the examination backlog, and they are very difficult to achieve also. So if you have seized all the computers at a search site and they are examining them at the deepest levels, they are also the most significant factors contributing to the examination backlog, even though they are very difficult to achieve. And here, in order to elevate this problem, to solve this problem, new data intake and data reduction strategies can be implemented. So if you want to elevate this problem, so in order to solve this problem, some new data intake and data reduction, some strategies they have implemented, that should be implemented. And it is always a good idea to adapt data acquisition strategies. So data acquisition strategies to the goals involved in specific case. So it is always a good idea. And these strategies must be pragmatic with regard to data volume and time constraints. So these are also some pragmatic with regard to data volume and time constraints. And see here, yesterday's computer is not equivalent of today's computer, and is not even remotely similar to tomorrow's computer also. So yesterday's computer is not equivalent to today's computer. It is nothing but, so if there is any case that was happened on an old computer, so the rule like the tools used in that particular computer has to be known by the expert. So who is investigating the case, who is the expert in the investigation, he has to know yesterday's computer is not equivalent to the today's computer and is not even remotely similar to the today's computer also. So which type of computer that has been used in the incident, that has to be taken and investigate on that particular investigating on that particular time. And failures to recognize this invariably result in lost investigation leads and effective prosecutions. So if he is not known which type of computer he has used at the time and which tools that has to be implemented to extract the data, so if he has not known about that, so it is a big failure for the investigation. So these are some challenges. And when coming to challenges in network forensics, so it is a network span multiple time zones and jurisdictions. And network data will be available offline and online in real time. And real-time data acquires ability to capture and analyze data on the fly. So it will require ability to capture and analyze the particular data on the fly. The data may involve in different protocols. The data may be used to increase bandwidth. So these are all some challenges in network forensics, and a protocol might involve in multiple layers of signals. So VoIP or HTTP tunnel. And current forensic tools will not be able to handle real-time data and huge amount of data. So the new forensic tools has to be used to investigate the case. And there need to be paradigm shift for network forensic techniques to analyze the real-time data and huge amounts of data. Duration of forensics investigation may vary. So it might be some less period or a very large period. Some simple cases might take few hours and complex may take more hours or more days or more months, like that. So certain digital information other than the data itself may help in solving the case. And such information might include data, timestamps of files, and folder structure and message transmission tracks. And real-time data collection is more complex as it needs to address legalities and privileges involving in surveillance, which causes may take some years to solve. So it is like based on the case. So it might be a small case or a complex case. So it may like we cannot justify that within this span of time it will be completed. So some will take within hours it can be solved, and some might take so many hours or so many days, or it may be some years to solve particular cases. So based on the real-time data collection, so if it is more complex as it needs to address legalities and privileges, so that were involved in the surveillance, so these cases may take so many years to solve. So based on the complexity of the data. And these are some technical challenges in cyber forensics. So the two challenges faced in digital forensic investigation are complexity and quantity. So the complexity problem, it refers to the data collected being at the lowest level or in a raw format. So the complexity problem, what is that? It is the data collected being at the lowest levels in raw format. So if there is so much of raw format data that has been collected to extract the particular data, so it is very difficult. Non-technical people, they'll find it very difficult to such type of data. Tools can be used to transform the data from low-level format to readable format. So some tools can be used to transfer the data from low-level format to readable format. And the quantity problem refers to the amount of data that needs to be analyzed. Some particular amount of data that needs to be analyzed. Quantity problem. First one is complexity. The data being collected at the lowest levels or in a raw format, and huge amount of data, the amount of data that needs to be analyzed. So these are the two technical challenges in the digital forensic investigation. And data reduction techniques can be used to group data or remove known data. Some data reduction techniques. So those can be used to group data or remove some data. And digital forensic is also called as the quantity problem, why it involves the hugeness of digital forensic to analyze. It involves the hugeness of digital forensic to analyze. It is insufficient to analyze every single piece of it. It is very inefficient to analyze every single piece of it. And data reduction techniques, they need to be used to solve this. So to analyze every single piece of data in a very huge data, so data reduction techniques can be used. And data reduction is done by grouping data into one larger event or by removing known data. So removing the known data, so it is compulsory not involved in a particular case, so that data can be reduced. And separating based on the categories, separating the data, also data reduction, it will comes under data reduction. And here the data reduction techniques, we are having some data reduction techniques like identifying known network packets using IDS signatures, Internet Digital Signatures, and identifying unknown entities during log processing. So when log processing, so we have to identify unknown entities. So this is one of the data reduction technique. And next technique is identifying known files using hash databases. And sorting files by their types. So sorting, like this is one type of file, this is one type of file, like text files, some data files, like that. Separating them, sorting files. So these are some data reduction techniques. And next one, legal challenges in cyber forensics. And digital evidence can be tampered easily, sometimes even without any traces. And it is common for modern computers to have multiple gigabyte sized disks. Seizing and freezing of digital evidence can no longer be accomplished just by burning a CD-ROM. So seizing and freezing of digital evidence can be no longer accomplished just by burning the CD-ROM. So failure to freeze the evidence prior to opening files have invalidated critical evidence. And there is also the problem of finding relevant evidence. So finding the relevant evidence also having a problem within massive amounts of data, which is a daunting task. The real legal challenges involved in the artificial limitations they imposed by constitutional, statutory and procedural issues. There are many types of personnel involved in digital or computer forensics like technicians, policymakers and professionals. So these are some personnel that were involved in cyber forensics. Technicians who look after the techniques, policymakers who will make or update policies, professionals, so the experts within the cyber forensics. So these can be involved in computer forensics. And technicians, they have sound known and skills together, like knowledge and skills together, information and digital devices, understand software and hardware as well as networks. So they have complete knowledge about the digital devices, software and hardware within the networks. Policy makes established forensic policies that reflect broad considerations. So it will reflect the broad considerations within the organization. And professionals are the link between policy and execution, who have extensive technical skills as well as good understanding of the legal proceedings. So professionals, what they do, so they're the link between the policy and execution. So based on the policies only they have to execute the system or the process. So who have the extensive technical skills as well as good understanding of the legal proceedings. And next one, so what is the need for computer forensics? So what is the need for computer forensics? See here the advances in ICT information and the need for computer forensics. The advances in ICT and computer provides avenues for misuse as well as opportunities for committing crime. So they are giving some guidelines. So if there is any misuse from this, there has to be imprisoned. So the widespread use of computer forensics is the result of two factors. So what are the two factors? So first one, increasing dependence of law enforcement on digital evidence. So increasing the dependence of law enforcement, that has to be taken under consideration. And ubiquity of computers that followed from the microcomputer revolution. And these are the two factors, and there are many challenges for cyber forensics investigator because storage devices are available in various shapes. So see here we are having so many types of storage devices, so which are having different types of different types of sizes. And looking for digital forensic evidence is like looking for a needle in a haystack. So having so many things and looking for a needle is very difficult. So for that, chain of custody means the chronological document trail that indicates seizure, custody, transfer, analysis, and disposition of evidence. So evidence must be handled in a careful manner. So to avoid later allegations of tampering or misconduct. So here the main purpose of chain of custody is to establish that the alleged evidence is indeed related to the crime. So what is chain of custody? So it is a chronological document. So where if there is one case happen, so first the evidences that were collected on the spot. So it might be the data or the computer or the network that was used, that has to be collected by the forensic investigator, and based on the fields. So it may be the hardware field or the software field. So we are having so many fields. Based on the fields, these can be given to some software experts. So if our hardware experts, so first of all, these evidence is given to some expert, like some software expert, based on the chain of custody. Based on the chain of custody, these documents will be given to some particular expert, and he will note the complete document. He will take the complete document and he will give the report to another expert. Like that, the experts will take care of the evidences. So not everyone has to access that particular evidences. Only some experts with the signature on the report. So this for every chain of custody, at the end user has to submit the report with the signature. So he has to give the report with the complete documentation, where what type of things he has done within the incident, like that. Every report has been given. And these documents, so you see here the documents include, so what is the chain of custody document, which includes like conditions under which the evidence is collected, and identify all those who handle the evidences. So who accessed that particular evidences, that has to be identified. And duration of evidence custody. So if one expert has taken for 2 days, that has to be mentioned with the time, 2 days, like that. It has to be mentioned in the document. So chain of duration of evidence custody. And security conditions while handling or storing the evidence. So security conditions are nothing but, so there is no change that within the evidences. So if they have taken the evidences, there should be no change either within the data or the devices. No repair should be done for that particular evidences. So for storing also, they are having some security conditions. So they have to follow that particular conditions. And the cyber experts who are dealing with that evidences, they have to follow these security conditions. And manner in which evidence is transferred to subsequent custodians, and signatures involved at each step. So from one person to another person, if the third person, like that, the documents or the evidences will be transferring. So for everyone, signatures compulsory. So signatures has to be taken, and the duration has to be mentioned with the signature and the report. So this is chain of custody. And what is the importance of maintaining chain of custody? So what is the importance for examiner? So examiner who is examining the evidences to preserve the integrity of the evidence. So integrity is nothing but the truthfulness of the evidences. So how truthful the evidence is. So from one person to another person, if there is any change in the evidences, that has to be taken into the custody. So to prevent the evidence from containment which can alter the state of evidence. Containment. So if there is any change in the state of evidences, that also has to be taken into the custody. If in case you obtain metadata for a piece of evidence but unable to extract any meaningful information from that particular data, in such a case, chain of custody helps to show where possible evidences might lie. So where it comes from, who created it, and the type of equipment used. So this will help you to generate a exemplar and compare it to the evidence to confirm the evidence properties. So these are very important to examiner and importance to the court. So if we submitting to the court, so if not preserved, the evidence submitted in the court might be challenged and ruled inadmissible. And so these are some, we can take it as a chain of custody. So see here, first data collection has to be done, and examination, analysis, after that reporting. For every person, the data that has been collected, that should be examined, and that should be analyzed, and that should be reported. See here, the media, data to information to evidence, like that. This is the importance of chain of custody. So these are the references that were taken. So today what we have discussed? We have discussed about the challenges in cyber forensics and need for computer forensics. So what are the main challenges? Extracting the data from huge amount. Extracting the data from huge amount of data is not a easy task for the cyber experts. So most of the existing tools, they can allow anyone to change the attribute which was associated with the digital data. See here, the huge amount of data is available, and searching for evidence in huge data is not that much easy. And they have to use some techniques like link analysis, visualization, like database queries, like that. They have to use so many techniques to extract the data. And we are having two main aspects of technical challenges that were faced in digital forensics are complexity and quantity. Complexity is nothing but the difficult to understand, very difficult to understand, and quantity is nothing but huge amount. These are the non-file system layers of abstraction, which include that. And increasing volume of potential data to examine, they can create some problem for law enforcement. Further, they are seizing all the computers at the search site for examining them. And it is very good idea to adopt data acquisition strategies to goals involved in each specific case. And it is very good slogan like yesterday's computer is not equivalent to today's computer and is not even remotely similar to today's computer also. Okay. These are challenges in network forensics and the technical challenges and legal challenges. So what are the three computer forensics personals that involved? Technicians, policymakers, and professionals. So what technicians will do? They have sound knowledge, good knowledge and skills together to digital devices, understand the software and hardware as well within the networks. What is policymakers will do? They'll establish forensics policies that reflect the broad considerations. What are professionals will do? professionals are the link between the policy and execution. So these are the three people involved in the case. And the need for computer forensics. So what is the need? So it is coming with so many so many sizes. So we have to be very careful, and looking for digital forensic evidences is like looking for a needle in a haystack. So for the chain of custody is very useful within the need for computer forensics. Chain of custody is very useful. So what are the documents needed? Contains which like under which is the evidence is collected. Identify all those who handle the evidences. Duration of the evidence custody. Security conditions while handling storing the evidence. Manner in which evidence is transferred to subsequent custodians. So which manner? So by hand to hand or through the email, like that, it has to be taken. Signatures of personals involved in each step. So this is the importance of examiner, importance in the court. This is something chain of custody. So these are the references I have taken. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.